How are you feeling today? Are you inspired? Okay, can I see a show of hands again? Who among you here are authors already? You've written your books? Okay. And who among you who are not yet authors are now inspired to write your own books? All right, so maybe next year you can join us at the next Global Authors Summit. It's happening on July 2019, and it's going to be bigger, maybe 2.5 times this crowd. Okay, so today I'd like to talk about how to write a book, even if you're not a writer. Are you excited? All right, so that's a topic that I'm going to talk about this afternoon. So a lot of people want to write a book, but they have a lot of hesitations. They say that, why should I write a book? Who am I? Who will listen to me? Why would people read my book? You know, that is the wrong question that you need to ask yourself. You don't need to ask yourself that question. These are the right questions that you need to ask yourself. Will my book inspire someone? Will my book bless someone? Will my book solve someone else's problem? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And if the answer is yes to any or all of the questions that I mentioned here, then you should write a book. So tell the person beside you, you should write a book. I believe that no matter who you are, no matter what your background is, you are worthy to become an author. Why is that? It's because you have a unique story that only you can tell. There is a story that I can tell, and if this particular person would hear it, it's effective for her. But there are certain stories that I cannot share. For example, only Sir Fave can share, and that particular story can be well received by another person. There's a particular person that only Jet can share. Particular story that only Jet can share, which other people here cannot share. There is a particular story that only you can share. And you need to share that story to the world. And a book is one of the best ways to share your story because you write the book once, and it can be read by hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people. So it's like you talking to these people, hundreds or thousands of people, one person at a time. And they said that if you want to leave a legacy, there are 3 things you need to do. One is plant a tree. Second is bear a child. And third is write a book. Who among you were able to do all 3? Okay, so I'm 2 out of 3. I want to complete the 3. That's one of my dreams. So, there are 3 keys that every author must have. If you want to write a book, there are 3 things that you need to have. Number 1 is, you need to have a message that you would like to share. You don't become an author just because you want to become an author, just because you want to be famous, just because you want to promote yourself or you want to promote a business. It starts with a message. What is that message that you would like to share? And is that message so important that it needs to be shared to another person or to other people? You've heard a lot of stories from the book writing challenge graduates on their stories. The stories are very unique to them, right? So each of them are able to share their unique stories. So the first is the message. You have to have a unique message that you would like to share. And second is, okay, let me share with you the books that changed my life. One of them is the book by Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If I didn't read that book, maybe I'm still struggling in my work right now. I'm doing a job that I didn't really like, and I would go to work just because I needed the money to finance my bills, etc. And maybe, just maybe, I would retire at the age of 60, unhappy and broke, because I didn't know how to manage my money. So when I read that book, a lot of things changed in my life. I learned how to manage my money. I learned the concept of passive income, which is the income that you earn even while you're on vacation, and so on and so forth. Another book that inspired me was the book My Maid Invests in the Stock Market by Bo Sanchez. So because of that, I'm now investing in the stock market, and because of that, I'm able to travel, and some of my travels were financed by my earnings from my stocks investments. So again, these were the books that changed my life. And if I didn't read those books, I wouldn't be able to write my own book, and we wouldn't have this event right now, because I wouldn't be able to teach other people how to write their books as well. So thank God I read these books. Thank God for these messages, because they brought out the best in me. Okay, second is, because of those books, I was able to finance one of my dreams to travel Europe. So we ate gelato in Rome, we toured Madrid, etc. It was an almost perfect vacation except for one thing. We didn't see Piolo in Milan. Okay. All right, key number 2 is, you have to have the passion to share the message. Writing a book is simple, it's doable, but it's not really that easy, in the sense that you need determination, you need perseverance, you need JETS apps, APPS, in order to write a book, and that's where passion comes in. Fine, you have a message that you would like to share, but writing a book is a lot of hard work. Okay? Writing a book takes a lot of dedication, so you need to be so passionate about sharing your message through a book that you won't give up just easily. For example, maybe you're so passionate right now to write a book, and then you sat down, and you encounter what they call writer's block, although there's really no writer's block, and then you give up easily. So where is that passion come? Where's your passion? But if you're so passionate about writing a book, you won't let a difficulty, you won't let a setback hold you back. Quotable quote, okay. So, second is the passion. What's the first one again? Message. The second one is passion. Now, the third one is you have to have a systematic way of writing a book. There is a systematic way of writing a book. There is a formula for writing a book, and this is the formula that I revealed at the 90-day book writing challenge. This is the reason why a lot of people who are not writers, who are busy in their full-time jobs and businesses, were able to write their books. This is the reason why we saw them, 22 of them, a while ago here. It's because they learned the formula or the systematic way of writing a book. Can we give a hand again to all the 22 authors? Okay, case study. When I wrote my first ever book, it took me 3 years. Why? Because I didn't know anything about writing a book. It was a trial and error method. But when I discovered the formula for writing a book, it took me 1 day to write my second book, an ebook, and it took me 3 weeks to publish it. So 3 years versus 3 weeks. What's the difference? It's the same me. It's just that this time, there was a system that I followed. There is a formula that I followed. Okay? So 3 years versus 3 weeks. And another case study, I was able to publish 4 books, 4 ebooks in a span of 6 months while working full-time for a bank and while doing other activities as well. Yes, you can clap. Thank you. Okay. So these were the 4 books that I wrote. And again, the reason why I was able to write those books was because there is a systematic way of writing a book, right? And so these are the 3 keys that every author must have. First is the message. Second is the passion to share the message. And third is the systematic way of writing a book. Now, since you're here, the first ever Global Authors Summit, I'd like to reveal to you, very briefly in the time that I have, what is the systematic way of writing a book. Is that okay with you? BWC graduates, is that okay? I'll reveal it to them. Okay, so I'll reveal to you the 5-step process in writing a book. It's so simple. I'll reveal it to you in the next 5 minutes. Okay, first is select a topic. So before you write a book, you select a topic. What is the topic that you would like to write about? And this is where you can get your topics. Okay, this is what I call the topics gallery. It's either your passion, it could be your purpose, it could be from your business, it could be your pains and problems, adventures and experiences, people's concerns. Adventures and experiences. So we heard Angie talk about their adventure. Angie and Clea talk about their adventure during the Camino, right? So that's the subject of their book. And then we heard Ella talk about sinampalukan something, pains and problems, etc. So whatever topic you would like to talk on, you can get from these topics gallery. All right? So that's the first step. The first is the topic. Here's a case study. My first book was about Think Rich Yappies, and the topic was on money. That's money. Okay, so that's the topic. That's just the first step. The second step is you need to define your thesis statement. Okay, so here's other books that I wrote. Who Took My Hard-Earned Money and How to Write a Book Even If You're Not a Writer, People's Concerns. And why did I write that? It's because one time, I was talking with my friend and he was asking me, Sha, my staff has been telling me she's been working for 7 years already and yet she hasn't saved anything. Where did her money go? And I looked at my friend and said, wait, I don't even know who your office mate is, so how would I know where her money went? So, but anyway, I found wisdom in that question, and so I tried to answer it using a book, through a book. On another occasion, someone messaged me on Facebook, a guy, he's living in Singapore or Hong Kong maybe, and he told me, Sha, can I call you up? What's your mobile number? Emergency. So I checked his profile, and I didn't know him. We're not really friends. We're Facebook friends, but I don't really know him. So I replied and I asked, what is the agenda? Why do you want to call me? And then he said, emergency. Can you teach me how to write a book? So that's the reason why I wrote an ebook called How to Write a Book Even If You're Not a Writer. Because for other people, writing a book is an emergency. Okay, so I solved their problems. The second step is to define your thesis statement. So what is the thesis statement? In one sentence, what is your book all about? If people would ask you, what is your book all about? For example, my book, Think Rich Yappies, initially it had 32 chapters. When I presented it to my editor, she asked me, Sha, what is your thesis statement? And then I said, oh, it's about blah, 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 blah. I answered her in maybe 3 paragraphs. And then my editor friend said, Sha, you define your thesis statement first, and then we meet again. Okay? So it took me maybe about a week to define my thesis statement. And when I was done with my thesis statement, I went back to my friend and I said, okay, here's my thesis statement. And then I asked her, please edit my book. So 32 chapters, and then she said, this chapter is not related, delete. Another chapter not related, delete. I said, but it took me so many nights to write that. Why would you delete it? And I said, because it's not related. So in short, she deleted 22 chapters because the chapters were not related. Imagine the amount of time I used to pour my heart into those chapters, but they were deleted simply because they were not aligned to the thesis statement. Okay? So the second step is to define in one sentence, what is your book all about? All right? So here's an example. For example, my topic was about money. Topic is general, and thesis statement specific. If you take a look at any of my books, or maybe the books that you're holding right now, most likely the subtitle is the thesis statement. So there, in one sentence, what is your book all about? For example, for my book, Money and Me, the topic was money, but the thesis statement is, if you ask me, what is your book all about? I can answer you in one sentence. It's about the 9 steps to turn around your finances and live the life you want. See? So very easy to understand. Now, step number 3 is to create a mind map. A mind map looks like this. Okay, a lot of us are used to using outline. Outline is linear. Outline restricts your creative juices, but when you do a mind map, it allows you to be more creative. It allows you to share your ideas more freely. Step number 4 is to start writing and keep on writing. When it comes to writing, the problem that we have is that we write and we critique ourselves at the same time. We edit at the same time. So the key to writing is just write and write and write and write and write. Don't edit. Don't mind the grammar. Don't mind the organization. Just keep on writing. The purpose of writing is for you to write down everything that you would like to write. Okay? And once you're done writing, the 5th step is to edit without mercy. When I say edit without mercy, even if it took you 1 year to write that one paragraph, if it's not related, delete it. No mercy. Okay? And that was what was applied to me when I wrote my first book. So this is the 5-step process on how to write a book. It may look very simple, but at the 90-day book writing challenge, we really drill it down.